So here we are checking for crepitus, any sign of a fracture as we start, and then I'm checking PCMS, first pulse, the popliteal, and then check circulatory, it's checking sensory, asking my patient what am I touching, what does he feel, and then finally checking motor. If it was an actual patella dislocation, they would have decreased motor function. So I'm explaining to my patient what's going to happen. So I'm immediately applying pressure while lifting the medial thigh and applying medial pressure on the lateral side of the patella and telling my patient that he will extend his knee as I apply that pressure. And then again, I'm reassessing PCMS, rechecking for fracture as I did in the beginning, sensory, and lastly, I check motor function. Now, working on a shoulder dislocation again, feeling for a fracture, feeling for crepitus, checking pulse, finding that radial pulse, also finding the brachial pulse, sensory, what am I feeling, asking my patient, checking motor function. Next would be decreased if we had an actual shoulder dislocation. And then we move on to the axle reduction. Here I'm walking my patient through how they're going to self reduce, bending the knee where the dislocation is, putting the same hand on the knee, the other hand on top of the dislocated arm, and then fully extending the elbows. And then here again, just checking for crepitus, fracture, reassessing PCMS. And for both of these, after the relocation is done and it has gone back into place, I would refer the patient to urgent care or their primary doctor so we can get some imaging done, x-ray to rule out fracture, and then if there's any structural damages, for example, on the shoulder, if they tear a labrum, or on the patella if they tear an ACL, whatever, get those images back and see what the next steps are. After I refer my patient, of course I'm going to splint them, whatever the injury is or whatever the dislocation is. For this one, it's a patella, so I would do a vacuum splint. And then for the shoulder dislocation, I can put them in a sling when I send them off to get imaging done. And I would request for the images for whatever documentation that the doctors give them. I chose these two reduction types because they have high success rates. For the Boss Holzak matter maneuver, it has a high success rate, and the patient does it themselves. It takes a couple minutes, but it is less painful. And for the patella, the rubber and hedge, I also saw that it has a high success rate, and it's gold practice. So those are why I chose those two. I think having less pain or causing the patient less pain as possible is really important, and I like that you can self-reduce with the shoulder dislocation or the shoulder relocation type. That's what I like. And for the patella, it's easier and it's simple and it's straight to the point, and it shouldn't take that much to relocate the patella anyways. So those are why I chose those two types of relocation as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you liked this video, and yes, I did get consent to film with my players. Thank you!